Hey YouTube, Time itself here, continuing my Call of Duty and Battlefield comparison video of aiming and gunplay mechanics in both games. In this video we're taking a look at aim assist and changing targets. As a console gamer who plays FPS games, aim assist is an unfortunate necessity. The thumbsticks just are not precise enough for most of us to be able to play the games properly without aim assist. So it's here, and it's here to stay, and we should talk about aim assist. Aim assist has multiple forms. Most games will try to use a combination of things to help players with their aim. Even within the same game, the rules can change. For example, in Call of Duty and lots of games with aim down sights mechanics, when you aim down sights in the single player in Call of Duty, it will magnetically attract you to enemies. And it's not available in multiplayer because that just would be silly. But in single player, it means you can do some really silly stuff and target enemies faster than your reaction time would normally allow you to. That's just silly. Another possible form of aim assist is that the game can help you follow a moving enemy by pulling your sights along in the direction they're moving. Normally this is limited to close-range engagements, where you're trying to move around really quickly, though sometimes the game will freak out and start doing it when it shouldn't, like at long ranges, through walls, and letting you be able to tell that people are there when you shouldn't. And Black Ops 1 was really bad because a guy would come around a corner, you'd have your sights pointed right at the corner, and it would pull your sights in front of the guy as he came around the corner, and when you would have had a shot lined up, suddenly you're pointed somewhere else. It was goofy, and it didn't work quite right, to be honest. A similar form of aim assist that isn't in Call of Duty or Battlefield can be found in Halo 3, where the bullets coming out of the end of your gun will simply curve to hit the guy. It's weird. It becomes more obvious the faster you move in front of the target, or the faster your target's moving. It becomes really obvious with things like battle rifles, sniper rifles, or Spartan lasers. And it's one of the reasons why drag sniping works so well in the Halo games. A great example, though, is when you get a guy and he's just falling for a really long time, pick up a lot of speed, and if I use the Spartan laser to track him, you'll see that it just goes up and down as he follows him through the teleporters. It's the old video. And you see that my screen as I'm targeting him isn't moving, but for some reason where the gun's pointed is. That's what Halo did as part of its aim assist. But the part of aim assist that I'm going to worry about mostly in this video is the increased sensitivity. Now, if you haven't already watched the look mechanics overview video I did a couple weeks ago, I would suggest going to watch that now, because this will make a lot more sense if you've already seen that. Now, from Toysrme's report, it tells us that the increased sensitivity, you'll see that when the target is in the middle 20% of your screen. He describes it as 60% of the requested velocity on your thumbstick is directed towards the target. Again, those specifics are for Call of Duty, not Battlefield. Let's talk about when you get that aim assist. I already mentioned the target has to be in the middle 20% of your screen, but they also have to be close enough to be within that aim assist distance. Too far away, and there's no aim assist. How far is that? Well, it varies with gun, whether or not you're aiming down sights, and even in the attachments on your gun. It's one of the parameters they use to balance the weapons. If I give myself an enemy target here in split screen, I can slowly and steadily scan in front of him, and you can see when the aim assist kicks in. If I switch to a higher zoom, you'll see that it seems like I have to be a little bit closer. It's still in the center 20% of the screen, but if at a higher magnification, I have to be closer for the aim assist to kick in, all the way up to a sniper rifle. I wouldn't say there's any benefit to using a lower magnification zoom so that you get more aim assist when you're not as close. I'd actually say that I don't really want it. I want to get fairly close before that aim assist kicks in. So this is another way that weapons can kind of be balanced for range. And Battlefield has a very similar counterpart. In both games, sometimes you'll get aim assist when you can't necessarily see your target. Best example I have is on scene crossing, those windows on the last base of Rush. If they're not broken out, they're normally one way, but aim assist works both ways. It's really not that useful, and it would be really cheap, but it is there. I'll link to a chart from Black Ops 1 with all the weapon damage stats, but also the aim assist distances. So, for example, hipfire is shorter than aiming down sights, but if you add an ACOG, then the aim assist distance goes out even further. Sniper rifles have really long aim assist distances when they're aiming down sights, but fairly short when from the hip. And going dual wield or akimbo, sometimes it makes the aim assist distance shorter, sometimes it makes it longer. It's quite an odd thing, but it's a very subtle way they try to use to balance the different weapons. And it's on consoles, but it's not on PC, so that's one of the really strange things about when they port the game over to PC. Suddenly one of these balancing factors they have to play with on consoles isn't there on PC. Again, aim assist on consoles seems to be a necessary evil. Yes, it gets you into trouble sometimes getting pulled off on the targets you don't want to be on, but you need that additional contextual sensitivity, make the controls more sensitive when you're near a target for things to work. It gets back to issues with the look sensitivity, but again, necessary evil. So here's an example. The heavy machine gun on the tanks in Battlefield 3 is extremely precise, but there's no zoom and no aim assist. So when I want to be really precise and hit a target off in the distance that I'm not even sure is a target, I just think it's a guy, lining up the shot can be really, really hard because I keep overcorrecting. And even though I just end up wiggling the controls back and forth. That's all I can do.
Alright, let's try to tie this into something practical. Normally we think about having two different sensitivities, hipfire, where you can turn quickly, but it's hard to be really precise, and you also have that hipfire accuracy, but you can still strafe around a little bit faster. And then you've got the aim down sight sensitivity, which varies with your level of zoom. So essentially you've got 4 different levels of sensitivity, aim down sights and hipfire, and then each of those under the effect of aim assist. And the whole thing is complicated by the time it takes to go from hip firing to aiming down sights. That takes a couple milliseconds, and the sensitivity does some weird things while you're doing that. So here is my tip for how something that I find useful when I'm playing, and because I do this in Call of Duty, I have to be careful when I do it in Battlefield. It's something I usually do when I'm trying to switch between targets very quickly, and it usually also comes along with counting shots when I think I've killed the first one, and then I'll try to quickly switch to the second guy. And that is, I like to lower my sights just a little bit, ever so briefly, not even all the way back to hip fire and then aiming down sights again, to get a little bit of additional sensitivity so that I don't have to play with the thumbstick as much. Also with iron sights, this means that a lot of weapons, especially the AK, where the gun doesn't have any sights over the top, the iron sights are completely out of the way when I do that, when I switch targets, and so I can more clearly see what I'm trying to do. It works for me, I find it very useful, but there's a problem in that I try not to do this in Battlefield. The problem with doing that in Battlefield is that if I fire before I've got my aim down sights accuracy, I'll have to stop shooting in order to let the accuracy recover. So I try to only do that in Battlefield when I'm at close ranges. At the very least, when I do this, what I want to happen is when I zoom in on that second target, I want to be close enough for the aim assist to take effect. I don't want to have to be going through a zone where I'm not quite sure when the aim assist is going to kick in, and I'm going to go from not quite as sensitive to more sensitive because of that aim assist. I want to zoom back in and know that I'm going to have aim assist on this next target that I'm trying to hit, so I don't have to deal with multiple sensitivities as I'm trying to aim very accurately. And this is yet another one of those kinds of things that you just have to play with the guns to figure out how they react. An assault rifle is going to act very different from an LMG in this respect. LMGs handle slower, and so this is a little harder to do, but quite possibly just as useful. So at least for me, that's a difference I have to pay attention to between the games. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed it. Next time we're going to talk about recoil compensation. Oh goody goody. Alright, I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for sticking around, and I'll see you next time.